I really do think Donald Trump is acting in good faith. Man, why do people have a problem? This is how the Democrats lost last time.
Maybe it's not a good idea if we put boys in girls' locker rooms. That's a 95-5 issue, but Democrats will die on that hill. Maybe it's not a good idea that we let narco-terrorists run wild through the Western Hemisphere. Most people agree with that.
No one with common sense has a problem that we shut the border down.
No?
No one with common sense is mad that the crime rate goes down because we have more support in these cities that are overrun by violence.
Democrats, they didn't work hard for American citizens this year as they worked for Kilmer Abrego Garcia. He got their best effort. He saw 20 judges. He had an existing deportation order. He was an MS-13 gangbanger. He beat his wife. He was involved in some kind of human trafficking. You know somebody that loves Trump and they open that, they're going to be happy. And if you know somebody that has Trump derangement syndrome, you'll be delighted on Christmas when they open that and they call you and yell at you. But you'll get a great kick out of it.
Like and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notifications anytime I go live or make a video. Make sure you subscribe to The Officer Tatum Show and The Officer Tatum channel, and message me if you want to ask me a question at Brandon@freedomchat.com. That's Brandon@freedomchat.com. Let's get into this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to interview this next man. I mean, Scott Jennings is an absolute rock star. All y'all know it. And I've had an opportunity to interview him again. And one thing I want to talk about today with Scott Jennings, I want to talk about his book. And he signed his book generously. I'm going to show you so you don't think I'm just making something up. Scott Jennings was here. He signed his book. And this book he gave to me to give away to one of you guys. So what I'm going to do is, and it's very easy how you can end up getting this book in your hands. I only can give it to one person. I love to read. For the people who love to read and the people who love to read my Substack, all you got to do is subscribe to my Substack channel. And I'm going to write an article about my interview and write a little article about this book. All you have to do is comment right below the article or attached to the article. Comment your favorite thing that you love about Scott Jennings. And I'm just going to randomly pick somebody. Matter of fact, I'm going to have somebody else pick it. I'm not going to even do the picking. And I'm going to send you a copy, a signed copy of Scott Jennings' book, so you can read it, so you can enjoy it, and it could be a memorable thing for you, because there's not a lot of people that get an authentic signed book from Scott Jennings, his upcoming book, A Revolution of Common Sense. So all you got to do is follow the instructions. Subscribe to my Substack, comment on this article, your favorite thing about Scott Jennings, and we will send you a book. It's going to be one lucky person that's going to win it. If you want to get his book, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it everywhere else you get books. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, welcome Scott Jennings to the show. I really want to talk about your brand new book. It says A Revolution of Common Sense. The title is beautiful and the photo is beautiful. You told me how this photo was chosen. Can you tell the audience how you got this photo?
Absolutely. Yeah, and thanks for having me in. And it's fun to be back here with you. You're one of my heroes, man. More than that, my kids. The last time I was here, you sent me a box of Officer Tatum stuff. It got delivered to my house. Before I could even get to it, my kids had totally cannibalized the whole thing. Like, they're wearing the sweatshirts, they're wearing the hats. I got nothing. I got to carry more stuff back to Kentucky.
We got to send you more stuff. That's what it needs.
I mean, you wouldn't believe. They were like raccoons going through that box. They were like, this is mine, this is mine. So anyway, this book came out November the 18th, and I pitched a president on it in February. And, halfway through, I didn't know what to put on the cover. And so we tried a few things. But I finally just said, what's your favorite picture of yourself from the first 100 days? And they sent me one photo. That's the president's favorite picture. And then when I took him the book, right before it came out, I said, as promised, here's delivery. And he was like, this is the greatest cover of a book. and he's right. He's got an eye for it. And it is a great cover. The title comes from something he said in his inaugural address. He said, we're having a revolution of common sense. That's how he brands his political movement. And I just thought it was so brilliant because it explains so much of what he's doing and how he approaches decision-making. And so that title sort of permeates, a lot of the things I capture in the book, which really covers the first, roughly 100 days of his administration.
Yeah, and I think he's done a really good job. I say this in almost every single, I guess the last term he did and this term, if they weren't trying to kill him every day, I mean, the country would be a better place. You would think that what they would do is say, I understand what he's trying to do. I don't like the way he's doing it. I think he could do better. Let me give some advice or let me assist him into doing what's right for the country if they disagree with him. But they don't. They want him to die. They want him to go to prison. They want everything for him to do to be a failure, even if it costs the country everything. They do not want to support him. It's almost like the left, and they just continue to do this over and over. And I wish that we could finally come together at some point and say, let's put our pride aside. Let's try to work with the president to get things done for the American people.
I think the word that I keep coming back to is legitimacy. I think the left has never considered him to be a legitimate president. This goes all the way back to 2016. They couldn't believe they lost. They invented the whole lie about Russia stole the election. But what was born of that was an entire political party that therefore never believed he was legitimate. And if you believe that, then what you would expect your leaders to do is to keep him from acting as the president. Try to throw him in jail. Shut down the government to keep him from doing anything. Try to get the military not to follow orders so he can't be the commander-in-chief. To me, it all goes back to this issue of they just have never accepted the legitimacy of Donald Trump. And the bottom line is he won twice. He got more votes every time he ran.
Right.
He is the legitimately elected president. The Democrats won't accept it. And their political base sort of expects these Democratic politicians to do things to effectively try to grind our country to a halt and really, I think, inject chaos into Washington, D.C. That's what the government shutdown was. It's chaos. To tell the military, oh, we'll come back later and prosecute you if you follow his orders, that's anarchy. That's chaos. But to me, it goes back to this issue of legitimacy.
Yeah, they struggle with that loss. I think they still have a sour taste in their mouth because Donald Trump is not an easy pill to swallow, because they talked all that stuff. They did him the way they did him. And now they thought he would go away and never come back. And now they got to face the music of what they did to him. And he's very harsh. He's not going to take no prisoners when it comes to this. He's going to call them out and expose them for what they have done to him over the years, what they've done to the American people over the years. And it's bizarre to me that they continue this madness. Telling the military to not obey commands, it puts a lot of people in danger, in my opinion, because I think that's more dangerous than actually listening to unlawful commands. Because where do you draw the line at what you will do or what you won't do? Where do you, like the Supreme Court will make a justification on saying whether or not Donald Trump can do that legitimately according to the law and interpretation of the law. When you're on a fighter jet and you get a command for your commander that you have to strike something, you make the decision unilaterally yourself to say, well, I'm not going to do that because I don't think it's right. That's not how it should operate.
And what's crazy is it's not even really subtle. What they're saying to the military is, well, if you follow these orders today, in a few years when we're back in charge, if we're back in charge, we're going to come back and decide then if those were illegal orders, and we'll hold you responsible.
Yeah.
And so, the average military person, remember after Ferguson, they had the thing called the Ferguson effect.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Police officers, you know this.
Mm-hmm.
How many police officers were worried about carrying out legitimate law enforcement operations because they were worried Democratic politicians were going to come back later and try to ruin their lives, throw them in jail? It happened all over the place. The same could be true with the military here. Trying to sow doubt in the minds of somebody who's on the front lines of some military operation, make them hesitate, puts lives in danger. Mm-hmm. The idea that 6 years from now, Democrat politicians are going to go back in time and try to accuse you of doing something illegal. This is so irresponsible. And the people doing it, Mark Kelly, senator here in Arizona, he knows better.
He knows better.
And it's naked politics, and it's awful.
Yeah, these people know better than what they're doing because when they were in the military, they didn't do that. They wouldn't dare disobey an order, even if they disagreed. All the people who fought in Afghanistan and Iraq, I'm pretty sure they didn't agree with everything that happened there. I'm pretty sure when they said there was no weapons of mass destruction and they didn't see that, they probably felt like, what are we doing here? But you do not disobey a lawful command because that will get you in trouble faster than what the Democrats are fake promising you. Because if you end up disobeying a command, it comes out with the Supreme Court ruling that it was lawful for Donald Trump to give this action as the commander-in-chief, and you violated and disobeyed the command that he gave you in the moment, you are now in violation of the law. You are now going to rip your whole career apart and potentially go to jail over something when you should have just followed the rules. The president is acting in good faith. Well, here's the thing, Scott. What are they saying that's against the law? That's the part that, and I heard you say this on the show, like, well, when are they going to describe what this thing is that's against the law?
They keep bringing them on to ask them. And the one lady from Michigan, Slotkin, she said, well, there was that movie, A Few Good Men, They're citing Hollywood movies to justify this. Now, what it's really all about is Venezuela. The president has said, and he campaigned on this, I'm going to use our military to keep these terrorists from importing poison into our country. He has broad political support for this, by the way. But the Democrats don't want him using a muscular response to these narco-terrorists in our hemisphere. So they put out this video, alluding to the idea that there are illegal orders. They can't name any illegal orders. Then they invent this idea that Pete Hegseth gave illegal orders on this September the 2nd boat strike. Well, it turns out that was a lie. And the admiral in charge of it says, no, I made the call. We were supposed to sink the boat. I had a military lawyer, a JAG officer with me. We assessed it. It was a legal order, and we gave a lawful command, and that's what we did. But the entire run-up to that was Democrats and the Washington Post out there saying, oh, Pete Hegseth himself broke the law, and now he's a war criminal. And here's the thing. It was debunked. We have testimony saying it was debunked. But every Democrat in the country now has taken as an article of faith that Pete Hegseth is a war criminal who needs to go to jail. That's what they try to do. They create narratives, and even though they get debunked later, that's the story they run with. Right. And there's no facts to it, but that's what they want people to believe.
And it's strategic. People run with it.
Yeah.
They hear the first thing they hear, that lie travel across the world.
It's an article of faith now. You'll never dislodge it.
Right.
Never.
It's the same thing about the Ferguson thing. Michael Brown, people still probably say hands up,
don't shoot.
And you're like, that was debunked a long time ago, the DOJ.
By Obama's DOJ.
Obama DOJ.
Yes.
And Attorney General Holder and all of these guys. So it was debunked by black folks that this wasn't and people still believe it today.
Believe it.
And they know this. They know this. This is why they get out there. They have no integrity. They're evil in many cases. They know if they throw it out there, they don't care if it gets debunked because nobody cares. They saw the headline. I'm seeing headlines. We do this for a living. And I was worried, like, is there some there? Did Pete Hegseth do something wrong? Could this be catastrophic? And you got the weirdos even on the right that they sometimes they hate Trump. Somehow they hate Trump now. So everything he does is wrong. I saw somebody that I watch say something about this and say, oh, Pete Hegseth is screwed. They broke the law. And I'm like, so it kind of had me thinking, like, did something happen here? Because it could happen, but I think it's highly unlikely. I really do think Donald Trump is acting in good faith. Man, why do people have a problem? This is how the Democrats lost last time, which I hope that they lose again this time. No one with common sense has a problem that we shut the border down.
No.
No one with common sense. No one with common sense is mad that the crime rate goes down because we have more support in these cities that are overrun by violence. Nobody's mad that drugs aren't coming in our country, killing citizens. So people that have lost their family members to drug addiction and all this stuff, they are watching these boats explode and they go, thank God somebody's doing something about this.
Yes.
What are the Democrats thinking? Do they think this is a winning message?
Well, this comes out in my book, but one of the things Donald Trump has to live with is that if he is for something, the Democrats will reflexively be against it no matter what. I mean, look, the immigration issues all year long. He said, we're going to close the border. We can't do that. We're going to deport people who came here, broke our laws, and they're criminal aliens, and we're going to deport them. We have to stop them. Even, a big part of the book on immigration is about the Kilmer Abrego Garcia guy.
Yeah.
He saw 20 judges. He had an existing deportation order. He was an MS-13 gangbanger. He beat his wife. He was involved in some kind of human trafficking. Go on and on and on. Democrats, they didn't work hard for American citizens this year as they worked for Kilmer Abrego Garcia. He got their best effort. And by the way, he's still here. It's so easy to get here, or it was, and it's so hard to get out. But that's what they fight for. And it just all goes back to this idea. If Trump is for it, we got to be against it. It kills them. That's no way to run a political party because he often takes positions on issues that really are 80-20 issues. Maybe it's not a good idea if we put boys in girls' locker rooms. That's a 95-5 issue, but Democrats will die on that hill. Yeah. Maybe it's not a good idea that we let narco-terrorists run wild through the Western Hemisphere. Most people agree with that. And yet, here he is. We've got Democrats now fighting harder for the Maduro regime. By the way, we don't even recognize him as a legit president of Venezuela. He's under indictment in the United States. He is a drug lord. And, this is our backyard. The American people expect us to police our own backyard, but mostly to keep the poison out.
And the crazy thing is that this is all orchestrated. It's not legitimate. It's not legitimate outrage, right? Legitimate folk.
Orchestrated, fabricated.
Yeah, they know what's right. But they go out and present to the public something totally different. They know that Donald Trump is doing things that benefit the country, but it doesn't benefit their party when it comes to the election and winning. Yeah. So they're against it. And that's the problem that I see in this political climate is that the politicians are not doing enough for the people. They're doing stuff for their own pockets. On both sides. I think Democrats are way worse. I think it's Republicans too, because you want to see people say, we're in Congress for a reason. We got elected for a reason. At some point, we got to come to a consensus. Both sides, we have to agree. Shutting the country down is like illegitimate.
During the shutdown, I think about this quote every day. A Democrat senator anonymously was quoted in the Hill newspaper, and they said the following: "Oh, we have plenty of votes to open the government, but none of us want to face the guillotine."
Yeah.
The guillotine. They're using the language of the French Revolution to describe their own political base. And what I learned from that is they basically just live in fear.
Yeah.
They live in fear of a mob. I mean, it's mob coercion that causes them to do crazy things, shut down the government. It's the mob that causes somebody like Mark Kelly, who knows better, to go out and totally create this propaganda about illegal orders. They do it because they're being run by this angry mob that just cannot get over the fact that Donald Trump won the election. Okay, you lost one. Right. Go try to win the next one. Maybe nominate somebody better next time. You failed at that.
What you think about the upcoming election, as far as the presidential election? Mm-hmm. I'm kind of skipping over the midterms, but because the presidential election is going to be pretty interesting because Donald Trump can no longer run anymore, at least according to the Constitution.
Yeah, right. And he said he's not running.
He can't. He's old. Yeah, I mean, I love him. Man, he could be 90-some years old if he in his next term. Like, give it a break, man. Let that man live his life. I don't know why people still want him to run. Like, maybe he can be an advisor or something, but like for him to be the president again, like that's too much on. He's been going through this dude since 2015.
2015.
That's 10 years ago. Like, can he live his life? But there's a J.D. Vance. I don't know what other Republicans may try to run. I think maybe Marco Rubio and some other formidable guys that are. I don't know if they want to compete against each other in that way. Maybe they'll just pass it to J.D. Vance because he's the vice president. I think he's doing a decent job. And he seems to be a little more balanced. But the Democrats, I really don't see a single person that they have that can run. They'll try to run Buttigieg.
He'll run.
They'll try to run him. They'll try to run Gavin Newsom.
There's an absence of – there's no real leader of the Democratic Party. Right. And so there's no clear – I guess Newsom is the current front runner if you look at the polling.
He's a nut.
But that's weak. And he is I just don't get that. I mean, California, is that what you want to import to the rest of the country? Let's do what we did for California to all of America. Yeah. I mean, this is a terrible.
And he's a snake oil salesman.
Really?
I don't know how people can't see it very clearly. Like you see him, he greases his hair back and he say all these things and he uses it. And you're like, any rational person is looking at him like, dude, you're just being a politician.
Yeah.
And then when he tried to be down to earth, you could tell he's acting.
It's acting.
Like he had Charlie on his show and was getting spanked. Charlie was spanking him on the show because he can't be a normal person.
Nope.
He go about the women, the men in the women's bathrooms, and it's like he's got to play the politician. So he says some little roundabout thing, and he's just stuttering and he's dodging a question. It's like, dude, you'll never make it. But back to the legitimacy, or not the legitimacy, but the candidates that the Democrats have. Do you think they have anybody? Because obviously, I mean, I don't know. Gavin Newsom is charismatic, though.
There's a lot of energy in their party for this socialist radical, the Mamdani, AOC. I mean, there's a lot of energy behind that. And I suspect she's going to run.
You think she's going to run for president?
Yeah. Look, Bernie Sanders almost got the Democratic nomination twice. Almost. Yeah. They stopped him.
If they didn't stop him, I think he probably would have. Now, I'll probably get killed for saying this, but I really do think that he would have won the presidency if they hadn't thwarted him. And
you think in 16?
In 16. The only reason I say that is because they had so much momentum and they were lying about Trump and they made him a villain. And they had Bernie, this old guy that's really concerned about everybody, and he was getting so much grassroots support. And Donald Trump, in my opinion, they had painted him this terrible man. When they got rid of Bernie and they put Hillary, she had so much baggage, and she was such a terrible, unlikable candidate, not authentic, didn't have grassroots support, and she was so devastating to them that Donald Trump ended up winning, even though they made him out to be such a bad person, because in 2016, he didn't have the love he had in 2020 and 2025, to be honest. I loved him, but my daddy didn't support him.
Interesting.
And a whole lot of people that I know was still fringy. But you've seen a change. Like, now it's cool to support Donald Trump.
Well, back then, a lot of Republicans, they didn't know him.
Exactly. That's what I think.
They didn't know him, and there was some skepticism of it. And actually, I hadn't thought about that, whether Bernie would have been better. But look, fast forward to today. I mean, he almost got it, and then they made a run at it in 2020. I don't know. I get the feeling they're not going to be able to hold off these socialists. So AOC, I mean, look, if I were any of these Democrats and I had a national following, why wouldn't you run? There's no clear leader. Newsom's kind of a clown. And so You're going to see some of their governors run. My governor back in Kentucky, Andy Beshear's running. All these, there's probably a reason. But I'll tell you, after 2012, the Republicans were devastated, hated losing, kind of rock bottom, upset with the politicians. And they went outside. They went outside. I still wonder if the Democrats may not look outside here. I mean, I'm talking totally outside. Somebody not from in the party, somebody doesn't hold office.
You think they do what we did with Trump, like a businessman?
Look, when you're put out with your own political establishment, and you start to think maybe the politicians just don't know what they're doing. That's why we keep losing to Donald Trump.
You think they'll put up a Mark Cuban or somebody?
I think
I would never vote for that guy, but
somebody like that could run. I mean, heck, you get Stephen A. out there talking about run.
Stephen A. I love Stephen A. But
but I'm just saying, this environment leads people from the outside to say, well, I mean, if Donald Trump could come in from the outside, why can't I? Now, nobody's as talented as Trump, but you can see how it would invite an outsider to think, oh, maybe I could give it a go.
They're gonna have to do something because their candidates are terrible. They've lost American people, in my opinion, because like even I like to use my dad and some of my family as a barometer.
Same.
Like they started out hating Trump. He was a racist, grabbing women by the you know what and all that stuff. And then they got a little bit like, then they gave Biden a chance, and Biden just screwed it all up. Yeah. And now a lot of people are like, oh, there's no way I'm voting for these Democrats again. No way. They kind of showed their hand, and that they didn't have what they said they had. Donald Trump in his second term, a lot of people came around. We saw the Hispanic vote. We saw a lot of black men vote.
Yep.
And a lot of people in my family are like, I'm supporting Donald Trump. And it's shocking to me. Now, fast forward, there is no Democrat that is the alternative to Trump.
No.
Nobody in my family is saying, I like this Democrat. Nope, not one person. And so it's making me wonder, like, I don't think they really have the support. And a moderate person is their only chance. And Gavin is trying to make himself moderate. But the socialist, America is not ready for that yet.
America's not ready for it, but the Democratic base is hungrier for that and more interested in that than all of America. And look who they nominated in this Nashville special election that we had the other day. That lady's certifiable.
Yeah, she's crazy.
I mean, but that's kind of the median Democrat. I mean, that is sort of the median Democrat. That's who they like. They want people to be sort of performative radicals. And
yeah, maybe you have a good point here because I'm missing something. The element of the young stew heads that have come out of the universities, this new wave of young people who are now eligible to vote, who are socialists, who are radicalized. That's probably what happened with Mom Donnie, because most people in my generation and older, socialism won't make it. I won't say won't never make it because Gen Z, my generation is, they're slow too. That's probably what's ruining the country. But at least we won't have socialism. But that next wave of young people that's out of the universities, the teachers and stuff that come out, and they gave Mom Donnie an opportunity, it's kind of shocking to me. I don't think it's as shocking as it could be because nobody put up another candidate, right? It's like Mom Donnie was running by himself.
He got to run against Cuomo twice.
Right, exactly.
And so, I mean, that was good for Mom Donnie because Cuomo is completely unlikable and sort of a spent force, old news, and who, by the way, ended terribly when he was, governor and what they did during COVID and how he treated women. I mean, so he got to run against a terrible person. But you're right about the young people. In New York City, the people who voted for Mom Donnie were people with college degrees or more and people who had lived in New York City for less than 5 years. So these new kids out of college thinking they were going to go to the city, make their dreams come true, totally dissatisfied with what was going on. They went with Mom Donnie. Everybody less than a college degree who were lifelong New Yorkers, they actually voted for Cuomo. They're not buying the socialism argument. But those young kids with the college degrees who were thinking they were going to go do whatever and they wind up working at the coffee shop part-time, they're not happy. And they bought the socialist argument, and I think they're going to be disappointed, but that's who elected the guy.
Yeah, which is kind of scary, but I wonder where we're going to go from here. Like good men like you and I and others who stand up for the truth, empower and inspire young men who have some level of fortitude. Our young men versus their young men is on a different level. Dana White said this, and I'm not going to say exactly what he said because there was a lot of cuss words in it. But he was just pretty much saying, like, you do a little bit of leadership for your young men today, they're going to be leaps and bounds over these kids that they're raising now. I mean, a little bit of tough love, a little bit of teaching them how to handle adversity and perseverance, they're going to just stomp these next generation of kids that are soft and are wimpish. They don't know how to shake your hand. They don't open doors. They don't know who's going to pay on a date. I mean, they're raising men.
Yeah.
They're raising entitled, cowardice individuals who will grow up one day and not know how to work with their hands.
I think a lot about the phrase individual responsibility. You know, are you expected to take responsibility for your own actions, for your own outcomes? I mean, we live in America. It's the greatest country that's ever been devised. There's opportunity around every corner. Information is free. I mean, the opportunity to succeed here is real if you will take responsibility for yourself, take responsibility for your own education, find your way, work hard. Don't expect anybody to hand you anything.
Right.
But I think that's a real issue is people have some expectation that they should be handed things for free and their life should be free. I think that's actually sort of what the Democrats sell. You know, if you vote for us, we're going to hand you everything. We're going to pay for everything. We're going to hand you everything. We expect nothing from you.
Yeah.
But America expects things from people. They expect you to be responsible. They expect you to follow the laws. They expect you to be engaged in your community. They expect you to respect the American tradition and the American culture. And I think a lot of these young radicals, they don't love America.
Yeah.
They've been taught to hate America.
Yeah.
They don't love the West. They don't understand Western civilization. And that's really unfortunate. That's part of the reason I put that in the title of the book. Trump, I don't know if he knew he was signing up for this. He is leading us in the fight to save the West.
Yeah.
And the West is this set of ideals that has, you know, it gave us the Bible, the university, the Constitution. That's Western civilization. It created what we have in America, but there are expectations of citizens here. And you shouldn't be expected to be handed anything.
Right.
But America will give you everything if you just take responsibility for yourself and do what you're supposed to do as a citizen.
Yeah, I love that. Scott, thank you so much for coming on. But before we get out of here, how do people go and get this book? Like I said at the beginning, I'm going to give this book away, or at least Scott is going to give this book. I'm going to disseminate it to you. And it's signed. Look, it got a signed portion right here. So y'all don't think I made this up.
Yep.
The signed portion, somebody's going to get this book. We'll describe that. But if for the people that may not be lucky enough to get this copy, how can they go and get this book online?
So you should be able to walk into a bookstore, a Barnes & Noble or whatever, and get it if you want. You can go on Amazon and order it. We also have a deal with a company called Premier Collectibles. I actually autographed a limited number that if you want to go on Premier Collectibles and look it up, you can get a special edition of it. And all this is on my social media as well. But honestly, best way to get a book these days is just go to Amazon and order it, and you should be able to get it in short order. I think it makes a great Christmas present. If you know somebody that loves Trump and they open that, they're going to be happy. And if you know somebody that has Trump derangement syndrome, you'll be delighted on Christmas when they open that and they call you and yell at you. But you'll get a great kick out of it. You will learn things about Trump in this book. You'll learn how he leads. You'll learn about the biggest issues of the first 100 days. You'll learn about the strategy that he put in place to, I think, have the most consequential, fast-moving presidency really since FDR in terms of the use of executive power. So a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. I interviewed Elon. He's got eye-popping quotes in there.
Wow.
If you love Elon, there's a whole chapter about Elon. So it was fun to do. It was an honor to work with the White House on it, and I'd really be grateful if you went out and got it. It's on the New York Times bestseller list, so some folks out there are liking it, and I think you will too.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So thank you, Scott. I appreciate you. God bless you. I know you got to run.
Thanks, Brandon.
So thank you for coming on. Say a hello to the kids and everybody back at home, man. And I have to have you back.
Thanks, Brandon. Every time I'm in Arizona, you'll be my first visit.
That's right. That's right. All right, like I said, man, the interview was great. Scott Jennings, man, thank you again for being here. If you want to have an opportunity to get this book, all you got to do is join the Substack. Join the Substack, comment on the article that's related to this, and I'm going to find somebody. I'm going to get one of my staff members to do the searching so there's no conflict of interest, and I will send you this book. It's the New York Times bestseller. It is absolutely phenomenal, all right? God bless you. God bless America. And thanks, Scott Jennings, again for coming on the show. We out of here.